Hey there, thanks for tuning into DuckBricks. I'm Chris, and back in September for LEGO Fan Media Days over at the LEGO Group's headquarters in Billund, Denmark, I got a chance to see one of the brand new LEGO Ideas sets, the massive Steamboat, and get hands-on with the build, as well as view a presentation by the designer of the set as to how it all came together. And so join me for a hands-on close-up look at the brand new LEGO Ideas Steamboat, but first, let's see that designer presentation and unveiling.
Yeah, so Marina will present this SKU, 21356. It's very different to what you just saw, but I think it's going to be really fun. So Marina, please take it away.
Yes, so hello, I'm Marina. I'm a model designer in LEGO Ideas. I'm fairly new, so probably most of you don't know me yet. So back in this past summer, we gave you Jaws, and everybody was saying, we're gonna need a bigger boat. So we built a bigger boat. And it's not just a bigger boat, it's the biggest LEGO Ideas yet. By piece count, at least, also probably by length. So let me present to you, and hopefully it will not, nothing will fly away.
Whoa!
So this is River Steamboat. It comes at 4,090 pieces. So it's the first LEGO Idea set above 4,000 pieces. Steamboats were a big revolution in engineering and a big revolution in river transport. So I was very excited to work on that. I'm an architect. We architects always say that we are architects no matter where we are or what we do. So you're gonna hear that a lot. So I was very interested in the engineering part of it. But before we go into that, I would like to tell you more about the design. First of all, the design is based on the fan submission by Aaron Hall from the US. So a few changes we did on the design were mainly caused by the fact that we wanted the steamboat to be more universal. So we drew inspiration from steamboats from the Nile River, also from River Clyde in Scotland, and from the Mississippi, of course. That's very iconic. So we have very elaborate exterior details. And also interior details that were inspired by all the steamboats of that era. The era that the steamboats were mostly used was the 19th century, so mostly around 1850. So you get a more historical context of it. So it's a really nice display model. It's very long, but it's not wide, so it can fit on your shelf, hopefully. I'm not sure about the height, but you can adjust the smokestacks. So let's go to the fun part. The fun part. Functions.
Oh, nice.
So we get it off the display stand.
Whoa!
Front and back.
Front and back. So that was very important for us to include. And Aaron was also very excited that we managed to include the functions. And beside that, you can also place it on the stand. If you manage to place it on the stand and then play with it, it's very satisfying, I can tell you. So besides that, I was talking to a fellow designer who was building something similar, cannot say what. So he was telling me, does your boat have steering? And I was like, no, but it could have. So I decided to add the steering function. So if you can see the rudder down here, you can control it by the steering wheel here at the pilot house.
What?
And if you don't have tiny fingers, there's also an alternative here at the front, which makes it a bit easier. So we have a steering function. And then we have
That's insane.
the boarding stages for the passengers. So we can also raise them and lower them until they go that far. And then there's a tiny locking mechanism, and then we can rotate them so passengers can board no matter which port you are in. And of course we have an anchor that you can throw to anchor.
You said you were an architecture or an engineer?
I'm an architect engineer. So I'm kind of, yeah. So that was the functions. And then, last but not least, All the floors are removable, so you can have full access to the interior. It has everything, right? It ticks every single box.
But how do you do that with a function that goes through all the model?
Yeah, I'm just gonna show you. So we have the pilot house here, where the steering wheel is, and if we remove it, we see that strange thing. That strange thing is also a new element that we developed. So it's a connector that has, it's a 5-module one that has friction on one side and non-friction on the other side. So that was very crucial to get the function working throughout all the removable floors. So it's a bit tricky. I'm going to show you this first floor. So this is the Texas deck. So the Texas deck has the smokestacks where the smoke comes off from the boiler. And then it has a crew cabin with a bunk bed and then a full bathroom because everyone loves bathrooms and toilets. And also a very nice string going throughout it. No sewing skills needed, or maybe a tiny bit of sewing skill needed.
As well.
It's one string that rules them all. So, and then we have another cross axle that we have to remove. And then we have the main deck. So the main deck includes, it's also removable of course, and it includes a very luxurious restaurant. I forgot to mention that the boat is supposed to be a 19th century boat that is refurbished and is used for tours, like for touristic purposes. So we have a very fancy restaurant, and we also have a music stage that I will show you, hopefully nothing will break. But I will also show you the bottom floor, which is spoiler alert. If you can see it. So we have a nice music stage going with the restaurant, and then in the boiler floor we have the restaurant's kitchen.
I can do the function at the same time.
And then you can do the function at the same time. Yes?
Whoa.
Everything all at the same time. And for the rest of the boiler deck, again, I'm a bit of a research nerd, so I wanted to include something around the history of the steamboats. So we added the a steam engine museum. So we have a James Watt steam engine, and then we have an aeolipile, which is from the Roman times, and it's supposed to be the first steam engine. And then we have a working Lego piston, just for fun. And then, besides all that, on the interior of the museum, you can also see the engine, the actual engine of the boat that's working. And it's made to look as accurately as possible. It's made to look like a steamboat engine, like the original engine that such a boat would have. The original Fantasy Ambition had the boiler in the boiler room. We moved it to the interior of the hull, so you see it, you build it as you build the boat, but then it's covered to make more room for the rest of the interior. So that was it. Mostly, I have some also new elements to show you and new colors. So besides the hull, the big hull pieces that we brought back in brown, we have some inverted bows in brown that are recolored, and we have this new 1x6 bow. And then these two are recolors, and then this is the new element that I show you. That was again very crucial to add the steering function. So it was the only way, at least I could find, to have the function go through all the floors and at the same time keep the floors removable and make it as easy as possible so that you had to remove or add the fewest possible pieces when dismantling and then putting it all back together. We also have a few Easter eggs for the fan designer. The first one, I'm not going to go into details, so more details in the interviews. But the one you see already, Amelia, is the fan designer's daughter. So most of the ships have female names, so what better way than to include the fan designer's daughter? And we also have a few other on the inside.
Yeah.
Am I forgetting anything?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
There's a lot to go into.
There's
Yes.
minifigures?
Yeah.
No minifigures. And there's also a display stand, which is pretty obvious.
You said no minifigures, but would you say it's minifigure scale? Like if you want to add your own, will that work? Or?
Yeah, it will work, yes.
Okay.
It might be a bit tight in a few places, but it will work, yes. So you can definitely.
We wanted to bring like the level of detail, and having the minifigures scaled accurately would have sacrificed quite a bit, especially in the cabinet and things. And
Yes.
yeah, we didn't want to compromise on any of those details.
Thank you.
Aside from all these amazing features, you mentioned that the smokestacks were adjustable.
No, it's just the detail here that you can move them, but they're not meant to be adjusted.
It's just if your shelf is slightly too low, you can just spread them out a bit more.
It will look weird, but it will fit.
Jake?
There's a lot going on here. Where did you start with this?
Where did I start with this? Okay, that's a good question. I started from the fan submission because always, we try to be based and respect the fan submission. So I started from there, and then again, I like boats. I've been on many different boats in my life. I come from Greece, so we have a lot of connection with the sea, but I had never any experience with steamboats. So I tried to doing my research, I tried to find something that I could connect to my own personality. So I started with the design, the exterior design from the fan submission, and then I thought about what I could add that could add more interest to me in the first place, and then that would be more interesting for the fans. So that was my process. So we discussed about what the interiors could be, and what the exterior details would be, and what could we be inspired from, and that's how it ended up, more or less.
Yeah.
Did you do floating tests?
It's too heavy.
It will not.
It doesn't float.
Yeah.
It doesn't float. It's flavor.
Will that be specified on the box?
Oh, that's not
Do we specify an 18 plus?
I think we
I
have
don't.
to.
Yeah, I can't remember if it's on the Jaws one.
I think it's
I think
also
it's-
on the lighthouse, even
Yeah.
if we had just that
Yeah.
tiny,
Yeah.
so I think we have to.
Yeah.
And it's around 3 kilos, if you're curious. So it's like a little baby. Bigger than a baby.
Any other questions about the steamboat? Well, cool.
So that was the River Steamboat from LEGO Ideas. It'll launch on April 11th of this year and retail for $330 containing 4,090 pieces, which is actually a pretty decent price. It's set number 21356 based off of an original LEGO Ideas submission, and this is such an interesting and different set compared to really anything we've gotten from LEGO in the past. Sure, we've gotten some large-scale boats from LEGO with the Titanic and the Endurance, but this is a completely different genre of ship, and it actually does have the full functionality that you would come to expect from an actual steamboat, with the moving paddles as you actually chug it along, and the full interior. I think the interior is one of my favorite things about the set, although of course there are a number of new pieces introduced in the build as well, the most important of which in my opinion is this element right here, which is basically a brand new elongated version of a LEGO Technic connector piece, which as they explained in the interview, is a way for you to be able to remove different sections while keeping a Technic mechanism intact. Some of my favorite details include the toilet and living space inside. The dining table is really well done with Technic cam elements making up the chairs, as well as the D&D crystal pieces for the lamps. It's just a really beautifully detailed interior, and I'm honestly very impressed by how all of the details were managed to be packed into such a relatively small space for every single room. There's even an area for a band to play music, a small area for you to stand and have some drinks, and altogether for a space this cramped, they really were able to make the most of it. There's even little plates and food on the plates themselves, which is just really well done. Going into some of the interior bowels of the ship, you can see it all splits apart, and there's actually some more details when it comes to the engines themselves. There's some great parts usage of the hot dog element being used in there to actually showcase the inside workings of the ship, and you even have the steamboat mechanism churning back and forth as you rotate the wheel, which you can see on the inside right here, kind of moving back and forth, with a really nice sticker showcasing a blueprint of the ship as well. Of course, the boarding docks are really nicely done too. There's some interesting paintings adorning the inside of the halls, and altogether, I cannot wait to put this set together because there's so many little Easter eggs and tiny little bits and pieces of details that I'm sure you're only going to notice once you actually put together the set yourself. But with that, we have summed up our early hands-on look at the brand new LEGO Ideas River Steamboat coming next month. Again, let me know in the comments, what do you think of this set? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Does it live up to your expectations after the original one was voted to be made into a set for LEGO Ideas? And what do you think of the design and price as a whole? I'm pretty happy with this. This was the very first, or I think the second set that we saw for Fan Media Days, and this was a great way to kick things off on the first day because I was really excited to see something this large and this well detailed brought to life. Maybe the only complaint is that it is a little rectangular in some places, but I mean, that's kind of how steamboats are in real life, so I can't really complain about that. I would love to see someone mod this into a Ninjago Chen steamboat for the Tournament of Elements, and you know, I might try that myself. That's all for this video. Thank you so much to the LEGO design team for showcasing this beautiful set, and hope you enjoyed the video. Catch you next time.